The Untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing games are missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, bit of an early live today. You guys know, unless there's fights on, I'm not really much of a daytime kind of guy. You guys know that generally speaking, I'm more of a night. I'm a night owl. The later the better. But drastic times call for drastic measures. I got a busy day ahead of me today. I'm going to the Panthers game today again, so I'm gonna go support the boys today. At 4 o'clock, they're playing. So yeah, but before I go to the Panthers game, I figure I'd knock my live out. Be professional, make sure that I get my work done. And today, listen, today is day number 50. Day number 50 in a row. The big 5-0. Day number 50 of our 90 Days of Boxing live fight series. I've been telling you guys, I told you guys a while ago I was gonna do it live every day for 90 days, and I have not wavered once, not once in these 90 days. You got live every single day. So good to be here, good to be seen, good to see you guys. Make sure you guys smash that like button and definitely go ahead and do that so that the YouTube algorithms push this video out to as many people as possible, because I'm going to be here for about 40 to 45 minutes, maybe an hour if time permits. But we're going to talk that Canelo Munguia, because literally yesterday, right after my live yesterday, as soon as I hit end live and I got ready to go to sleep, I picked up my phone and I saw that PBC, in true PBC fashion, they announced the Canelo Munguia fight. So we'll talk about that. But before we get into that, let me take some time to acknowledge the fine folks that have already contributed their comments to the live. Carlos Gomez, shout out to Carlos Gomez in the chat. He says, the Untouchable. Good to see you, Carlos. Hope all is well. Jesus Sem says, saludos. Good to see Jesus Sem. Always good to see Jesus Sem. We got my main man, Aaron from Emsworth, UK. Shout out to all the Brits. Got a lot of love for the Brits. And then Jesus Sem says, Munguia versus Canelo on PBC DAZN so they can gauge the numbers for Canelo Benavidez. That could be a possibility. But before I get into that, let's get down to the basics, right? Canelo and Munguia, a lot of things have happened since the last time we spoke on the subject. Now, supposedly, Canelo was going to go to DAZN. There were discussions that were being had with Eddie Hearn for him to just go back on DAZN full stop. Obviously, he's not getting the Belonga fight, so it is what it is. But it looks like Al Heyman pulled one out the hat. You got to give Al his credit. That's why I always say you can't underestimate Al Heyman. He's a smart, shrewd businessman. Al Heyman and him may have split on the original contract, but he drew up another one. He drew up another one. And now the fight's going to be on not just Amazon Prime, but it will also be distributed with DAZN and whatnot. So Golden Boy is involved. Oscar De La Hoya is involved. It'll be Canelo Alvarez. I'm going to tell you guys this. Even though I know the fight's going to sell very well, because Canelo hasn't had a fight against another Mexican opponent since Chavez. And I remember back then I used to shit on the Chavez fight, but the Chavez fight, from a numbers standpoint, did about as good as any pay-per-view it was. And all the Chavez fight really was a glorified sparring session and a big commercial for the Golovkin fight. But commercially speaking, numbers-wise, it was one of Canelo's most successful pay-per-views. And I feel like this fight is going to have a very similar feel, Mexican versus Mexican, T-Mobile Arena. And it's a cool pay-per-view promoted event. But it does look, if you're someone that was really hell-bent on him and Benavidez fight, this makes Canelo look like one of the biggest frauds in the world, because really and truthfully, we heard all these things for years, from 2020 to now, since him and De La Hoya split. We heard all these things about, Canelo can't work with De La Hoya because they got a bad relationship, this, that, and the third. And all of a sudden, the dollars make sense. All of a sudden, Canelo can work with De La Hoya. All of a sudden, Al Heyman, all parties involved, everything's kumbaya, and we can gather on the campfire. So really, let's call it for what it is. I don't got a dog in the race. Y'all know I'm not no big Canelo fan. Y'all know I'm not no big Benavidez fan. But Canelo didn't want to fight Dave Benavidez, and it's okay. It's his cross to bear. He's got to deal with that. But as far as him fighting Jaime Munguia, I'm gonna say it like this, and I'm gonna agree with my guy Eddie. Eddie, good to see you in the chat. Good to see you, Next Gen Combat. What's good, Next Gen? I'm gonna agree with Eddie Morales. This is gonna be one of the only times in Canelo's career where I can honestly say I'm gonna root for him. I'm going to root for him to beat the living breaks off of Jaime Munguia. And you may say, BT, that's crazy. You of all people, you're the Canelo hater guy. You don't like Canelo. You're the one that made the shirts that said Canelo exposed by Bivol. And I did do that. And I haven't been the biggest Canelo fan over the years, but Jaime Munguia has been one of boxing's most protected fighters for a long time. He got a gift decision against Dennis Hogan. And I'm just not a fan of how he's ran his career, of how his career has been ran. I think he's actually been more protected than Canelo ever was. And I feel like, Canelo is corny. Let's be real. Let's give Canelo. Let's not let Canelo completely off the hook here. Canelo is a straight cornball. He's a straight cornball for this because Canelo lied to the public. Canelo lied to the public and said, "Oh, well, I'm not gonna fight Mexicans because I represent Mexico. I'm the Mexican representative, so why would I need to fight another Mexican fighter?" He lied to his own fans about that. And it is what it is. I'm sure everybody forgets. Everybody has a short memory in boxing. Thankfully I don't. I have a long memory in boxing. But it'll be a good event. It'll sell. I'll tell you guys this. I'll give you guys an early program reminder. I'm going to be in Las Vegas. I'm going to be in Las Vegas that week because that same day the Boxing Fan Expo is going on. I've been wanting to go to the Boxing Fan Expo for a long time. Every year it comes up. Since like 2016, every year it comes up. Either I had jobs that wouldn't allow me to go, or I was broke, or I was out of town. So this is the one year where nothing is getting in the way of me going to the Boxing Fan Expo. So I'll be in town for the fight, for the Boxing Fan Expo. For those that don't know, what is the Boxing Fan Expo? The Boxing Fan Expo is an event that they have every year in Las Vegas at the convention center. They get a bunch of fighters, all the boxing glove companies, bunch of old school fighters, new school fighters, signing autographs, taking pictures, all that stuff. I've always wanted to go because it would be great for the channel to get content. I never went, but this year is going to be the year that I finally go. So make sure y'all stay tuned for that here on True School Sports. Shout out to Michael Manning. He says, what a left field curveball. Really, that's right. Someone needed to ruin Munguia, turn the duck bill sideways. And oh boy, BT, yeah, damn right. Flights on flights, Michael. That's why right now, let me show you guys. Right now, I'm just chilling, enjoying the good old South Florida sun, just relaxing, enjoying the nature, because that time's gonna come soon when I gotta go to Arizona and Vegas, and I'll be gone for like weeks and a month at a time. And I don't see no grass, so I'm gonna enjoy looking at the grass while I'm talking to you guys. But yeah, it's crazy, man. As far as the actual fight itself, let's talk about. Let's break down Canelo versus Munguia from a stylistic standpoint, because I think it's got a chance to be a very exciting fight. We know what Jaime Munguia comes to do. He's gonna come forward. He's gonna look for the fight. He's gonna look to hurt Canelo and win the fight in a way that is pleasing to the Mexican fans. Canelo Alvarez is the more versatile fighter. Canelo Alvarez can box. He can punch. He can counter punch. I think this could also be a fight for Canelo where, he may be forced to actually fight a little bit more during the rounds than he has in his last couple of fights. Because let's be real. Ever since Canelo's been at 168, when he's been fighting guys like Saunders and Smith and a lot of these guys, he's kind of fallen in love with his power. And you don't really get a chance to see the Canelo Alvarez that we saw at 154 back when he was fighting like James Kirkland and these kind of guys. And he used to actually flash nice hand speed and combinations. That guy hasn't really been too prevalent at 68. He's been more of a single shot, aggressive counterpuncher. Well, with the way Munguia fights, he may just need to fight a little bit more for a little bit longer in this fight. So that's probably, to me, when I look at the fight from a stylistic standpoint, that's probably the most interesting part about the fight. The fact that Canelo was fighting an opponent who has an elite gas tank, who's gonna come to make him fight longer than he has been in these fights. And the crazy thing is, we could say the same thing for Benavidez. I think Benavidez probably would have done that even more, but he's not fighting him, so we gotta just make it do what it do. But listen, guys, guys, stop being stingy, man. This is day number 50. Show some respect. Show some courtesy. This is day 50 in a row I've gone live. I've held my promise, man. Smash that like button. There's 16 of you here, but I only got 6 likes, so run it up so this video gets pushed out to more people that aren't subscribed to the channel so they can get world-class boxing talk. Now, my man Maximid Najaka says, Ayo, True School, watch Man City versus Liverpool tomorrow. Absolutely not. I hate both those teams. I'm an Everton fan, unfortunately. So I don't really watch many games. I actually woke up this morning. I watched Everton play for the first time in months. It was brutal. They got their ass whooped by Man United. So yeah, I'll pass. But I'm gonna go watch these guys later. I'm gonna go watch the best team in the NHL, the hometown team, the Panthers, baby. I don't know if y'all watch hockey, but that's my team. BT Canelo was insisting on Jamal Charlo, but the backlash and not a power didn't make the business sense. Yeah, that's what it was. The dollars didn't make sense, and it would have been easy pickings. It would have been, a nice hand-picked opponent, but the dollars just didn't make sense. And then as far as Berlanga, um, I just don't think the money would have been for a Berlanga fight what it would be for a Munguia fight. So ultimately, look, you can say what you want about Canelo as far as him as a fighter, but the man is a businessman. The guy is all about his paper, and that's what you should be about in boxing. It's prize fighting. You should be about your paper, and you should be about your legacy, and he's about those things, and he's going to get a lot of it come what is it, May 4th, Cinco de Mayo weekend, you know? Shout out to Hyro. He says, finally, some PBC news. BT, you should go to Big Bear and interview Jaime Munguia. I don't know if I'll go do that, but, I wouldn't be against that. I wouldn't, listen, regardless, I'm going to tell you guys something about me. Regardless of what I say about any fighter, it could be Munguia, it could be Raymond Ford, as you guys saw, it could be Dave Benavidez. I'm not against interviewing anybody. I don't really hate none of these guys like some of you guys think. I'm a regular guy. I live a great life. I mean, look, how could I hate? I live in South Florida, man, where we got grass and the sky is blue and the weather is beautiful. What is there to be upset about? I get to talk boxing with you guys. I don't gotta work a regular job. I make, sustainable money to live a good life. Like, what is it to be upset about? I don't got enough hatred to hate none of these fighters like you guys think. So, yeah, I welcome all the fighters. Canelo, Munguia, Raymond Ford, anybody who wants to talk to True School. I don't duck no smoke. Brendan, and shout out to Enrique Luna. Good to see you, Enrique. What's up with Cholatito? So far, all I've heard two things. The first thing I heard about Cholatito from one of the guys in his team was that he's planning a return to fight in at one. He wants to try to become a 5 division champion, win a title at 118. So that's one thing I've heard. And then the other day I was talking to another good friend of mine from Nicaragua, and he was telling me that Roman Gonzalez might be fighting in Nicaragua soon. So that's what I've heard, but I don't really know what's concrete and what's not yet. But let's try to stay on topic with this Canelo Munguia, because I want to really just make sure I hammer this out and I talk about it, because I want to make sure that nobody asks me, BT, can you talk about Canelo Munguia? Because I'm just going to say I've been live about it. I'm not going to keep talking about it over and over again. From the Munguia side of things, Munguia, I think, has evolved as a fighter. Like, Munguia isn't as one-dimensional as he once was. Like, I think with him being with a lot of world-class trainers like Robert Alcazar, then he had a stint with Eric Morales. Now he's with Freddie Roach. Munguia has evolved his game. Munguia, as you saw in the John Ryder fight, yeah, can he be aggressive and finish you? Yes, but Munguia can also be the patient counterpuncher. Now, I'm going to say it like this. I don't see a scenario. If Munguia fights Canelo Alvarez, and if for even a round or two, if he becomes a counterpuncher and actually has any success, that would be very impressive to me, because Jaime Munguia counterpunching Canelo Alvarez is not on my bingo card. It's just not something I can see. Canelo Alvarez, one thing I can never take away from him as far as a fighter, as far as his actual skill set, is his timing and his fighting instincts and his ability to counterpunch. He's one of the best in the business at counterpunching. It's one of the things that made him the multi-million-dollar fighter that he is. So I'm gonna be very intrigued. I want to see like how long does Munguia box at Canelo? Does do roles reverse? Because that happens a lot. Sometimes fights, you can go into a fight thinking it's gonna play out one way, and then when you get right into the roles reverse. Look at Raymond Ford and Komatov. A lot of people thought that Komatov would be the aggressive fighter, myself included, and that Ford would be on the back foot. But guess what? When the fight actually happened, it was actually Ford who was in the pocket and Komatov who did more boxing. So sometimes you just don't know how styles are going to clash until the fights actually play themselves out. That's why I have sayings here on True School Sports like, you fight the fights for a reason. They fight the fights for a reason. Hyro says, just when you think Al Haymon was slipping, he comes back and delivers the fight. That fight got to be most exciting and mainstream than anything the Saudis are putting on. Yeah, listen, man. I even said it on that live when I talked with you and Rick Laser even. I said, look, man, I'm not going to ever put anything past Al Haymon. Al Haymon is a smart businessman. And sure enough, he actually worked out a deal where all parties actually wound up winning, because Golden Boy and DAZN are gonna get a cut of the fight. The main promoter, the lead distributor is Amazon Prime, but Golden Boy and DAZN are still getting their cuts. So everybody's happy, you know. Live and maintain, so everyone can just be happy. Like it says in Paid in Full, live and maintain, so everybody can be happy, you know. Canelo's getting paid, Munguia's getting paid, PBC's getting paid, Amazon Prime's getting paid, DAZN and Golden Boy's getting paid. Everyone can go home happy. And guess what? The Mexican fans, the casual fans, because remember, you gotta remember, guys, not everybody's a boxing degenerate nerd like me, where boxing is their life. There are people in the world that actually do real work, that like do blue collar jobs like bricklaying and the roads and stuff, and all they want to see is a good fight. And if a good fight for them is Canelo versus Munguia, and they can pop a couple beers, have a good night with their family, then that's a win for them, right? So I know a lot of casual fans are going to come out for this fight, and I'm expecting it to do great business in Vegas, especially because, like many other Canelo Alvarez fights, it's going to be going on at the same exact time as the Boxing Fan Expo. So it's going to be a great week for boxing. I would highly implore any and everybody who's going to be in Las Vegas that week. I'm going to be at the Boxing Fan Expo. So if you've never met BT and True School, I'll be there, out and about, shaking hands, kissing babies, politicking, talking to people in boxing, doing my interviews, getting my content. So go to the Boxing Fan Expo, and I'll see some of you guys there. Shout out to my guy, David Barrera, longtime viewer. Good to see you, champ. He says, yo, BT, are you going to Glendale, Arizona for the Sneeze Estrada fight? Yes, I am. I will be out there. I'll be leaving town from Florida for that fight a couple of days before. So, yeah, I'll be there for the fight. It'll be my first time in Arizona. I've never been to Arizona. I've had a lot of friends from Arizona. I've dated a couple girls from Arizona. I love the Arizona Mexicana. So, you know, I'm looking very forward to going to Arizona and finally seeing what it's all about, because I've been wanting to go to Arizona for some years now. But I'll see you there, David. Chris Myatt says, I'm kind of bummed, but I guess a worse fight could have been announced. Yeah, you guys could have got Edgar Berlanga. Would you guys have been okay if it was Edgar Berlanga and not Munguia? I mean, I think this is a better fight than Edgar Berlanga. I think this is a better fight than Jamal Charlo. So am I gonna go crazy over the fight? Not really. You know, it's not a fight that I necessarily care too much to see, but I'm not. See, one thing I'll tell you guys, I'm not a selfish guy. A lot of people wanted this fight, so people are gonna be happy. It's gonna sell well, and I just hope that Canelo and Munguia both put on a good fight for the Mexican fans. And yeah, we gotta boxing. He doesn't need to be anywhere near Canelo undercard. After how he ran away from a 5'2" British fighter. That's the most un-Mexican thing you could do. That's not Mexican. Shout out to Isaac Bermudez. He says Canelo versus Munguia is a solid fight. In the meantime, more solid than Charlo, Bud, and Munguia combined. And Jesus M says that people didn't want the fight. I didn't want the fight. I don't like Jaime Munguia at all. I can't stand Jaime Munguia. So part of me is like, you know what? To hell with Jaime Munguia. You know. But again, it's not about BT. It's not about True School. It's about the boxing fans. And there are some people out there that did want Munguia. I do know, though, I will say this. I know a lot of people wanted Benavidez more so than a guy like Munguia. So then it is what it is. Like, it is what it is. Jaime Munguia is getting his shot. Let's just get it out the way, and then whoever wins, we can move along in the 68th division. I just hope that whoever wins the fight starts fighting some other top 68 fighters, you know? Hyro says, you don't think Brandon Figueroa deserves his shot? He can get his shot against Vargas, but Vargas should not get the luxury of fighting on a Canelo undercard. So my proposition for that fight would be they could have it at a smaller venue in Vegas. They could headline at the Cosmopolitan or the Park MGM and do that. But Ray Vargas don't deserve nowhere to fight no Canelo undercard. He completely, just shit the bed yesterday and disgraced Mexican boxing as Nick Ball. Holding and running away from a 5'2" British fighter. The most un-Mexican thing you could do. My family will be watching, and my friends will watch Munguia here in Cali, the fan bases. But yeah, of course, the Mexicans and the Mexican-American fans, particularly in the West Coast, are going to pay for the fight. See, now, look, you guys don't understand my perspective. I'm from South Florida. We don't have, the biggest Mexican population here in comparison like California or Arizona. So Canelo's not as big here. He's big in Latin America, but Canelo's not as big as where I'm from. So that's why when Canelo fought Avni Yildirim up the street here in at the Dolphin Stadium, You know, he sold some tickets, but I mean, I know for a fact a lot of them were given away and stuff like that because he ain't moving numbers like that. He's a big draw over there, over on the West Coast, and that's where he should stay. But shout out to everyone here. It's your boy BT, the Untouchable True School Sports Empire. I'm not sure how long this live is going to be, so get your questions in. Listen, man, there's 31 people here. We need run them likes up, guys. Smash those likes. You know, I'm here. It's day number 50. I got 40 more days left in these 90 days of live, and then I'll probably do one more live for good measure because I think Devin Haney and Ryan falls like one day after the end of the 90 days. And then after that, I'm taking like a nice solid 3-4 day break, and then we'll get right back to it, going live, you know, consistently. But while I'm here, man, just enjoy it. Smash them likes. Let me know what city, what state you're watching from. You know, I want to see how international we are on the broadcast. You know, I'm in South Florida as always, as most of the time. Where are you guys from? I hope Brandon Figueroa dismantles Ray Vargas. Brandon's a good champion and humble. No, of course. Brandon Figueroa is a very good fighter, one of the top fighters in the featherweight division. He's one of the many fighters that are doing the featherweight division very proud. And look, like I've said many times, 2024 in boxing is the year of the featherweight division. Look at all the good fights we've gotten already in the featherweight division, all the good moments. We got Angelo Leo knocking out Mike Plania with a signature one-punch liver shot. You got Odebek Komatov, Raymond Ford in a great competitive fight that saw Ford win in dramatic fashion by knockout with 7 seconds on the clock. You had Venado Lopez deliver a beatdown on Rhea Abbey. And then you had a really interesting fight with Nick Ball yesterday in Ray Vargas. So far, the weight class that's delivering the most in boxing is the featherweight division. And mind you, I didn't even mention the fact that Bruce Shushu Carrington got a big knockout against Bernardo Torres. We still got Espinoza and Robesi Ramirez. I mean, there's just so much going on in the featherweight division. So I hope you guys, the boxing fans, stop paying attention to all the things that aren't going right in boxing and start paying more attention to that featherweight division because these guys down in that weight class are already delivering. We got Owensboro, Kentucky in the building. Shout out to Chris in Kentucky. New York Ricans out here, and you know, he's in my neck of the woods. Broward Boulevard at 441. Yeah, South Florida, stand up. Boxing learner out there in the home of Earl Spence, DeSoto, Texas. Good to see you. Jimmy Lewis watching from the Providence, Rhode Island, the home of Demetrius Andre. What do you think is next for him? I don't know. He was talking about going to 160. I don't think he can make the weight. We'll see how it goes. I'll wait and see with that. El Paso, Texas, the home of some of the most beautiful Mexican women on earth. I love El Paso, Texas. You know, shout out to El Paso. Venado will give Ball the fight he's looking for. Ray Vargas. Yeah, no, Nick Ball. Look, I'm gonna say this. Nick Ball deserves credit because I'll tell you one thing. Mexican boxing fans are so quick to always talk about how British fighters are soft and don't come to fight. He ain't one of them. He's a credit to British boxing, Nick Ball. Nick Ball came to fight. He comes to put your lights out. He comes to, if you got to make it rough and tough, he do what he's got to do. So you gotta respect Nick Ball. You got to respect what he brings to the table. I would love to see him against Brandon Figueroa. That's a great style matchup. Brian Hart Sports Nation says Shushu is going to be the one to defeat in a way. So we'll see, man. I think he's one of the guys I think has a good chance at 26. He's one of the guys I definitely want to see fight in a way at 26. One of the other guys is Odebek, but he lost, so we'll see. He's got to rebuild himself, but like right now, Shushu, Rafael Espinoza, and Angelo Leo, those are the three guys that haven't lost like recently. I'd like to see fight in a way when he moves to 26. Yeah, Jimmy, I wanna go visit El Paso for sure. I got a lot of reasons to go visit there. I don't want British fighters. I don't like the idea of the title that's from North America being defended in the UK. Eddie Hearn was saying some BS, the fake Gennady Golovkin. What did y'all think of Eddie Hearn's little like propaganda for Madrimov yesterday? He's over there comparing Madrimov, giving it the whole he's the next Golovkin and this, that, and the third. Madrimov is good. I like Madrimov. Israel Madrimov is the golden boy of Uzbek boxing. He broke the Uzbek streak of, you know, Ergashev and Odebek Komatov and all these Uzbeks losing in world title fights. He broke the streak, but you know, Gennady Golovkin he is not. And I think if he fights Vergil Ortiz, it's gonna be bad for him. That power jab of Vergil Ortiz is gonna be something to deal with. You know. But Canelo Alvarez, man, let's ask, before we go back to talking about whatever, kind of getting back to Canelo here for a second. And by the way, shout out to everyone here. I appreciate you guys for the impromptu midday live fight reaction, or not live fight reaction, but just live in the afternoon. I don't know. I don't normally do these. I'm not really a morning or afternoon kind of guy. I'm a night guy. I function better at night. But I'm going to the Panthers game at 4 o'clock, and I don't feel like going live later tonight, so I'll knock it out now. How many more fights do you guys think Canelo Alvarez has left in boxing? Because the way I see it is this. He's going to make good money, like real good money, this fight, with PBC and Dazn and Box Azteca, fighting a Mexican fighter who's a name in Mexico, who's a draw on the West Coast by himself. I don't see Canelo fighting past 20. Like I think he's got maybe the rest of this year. And by the end of 2025, I think he'll be done, honestly. I don't think he has many fights left. Maybe this fight, and then probably like Terrence Crawford or something like that. Because we'll see what's true and what's not. But if there's any truth to Terrence Crawford fighting Chris Eubank, then I would anticipate Terrence Crawford fights Eubank this summer, okay? If Terrence Crawford comes to the Eubank fight, that's a fight at 60 to get his body more acclimated, adjusted to a higher weight. He fights Eubank, he beats Eubank, and then maybe right after that is the Canelo fight, either later this year or like in the first quarter of next year. And that I think Canelo would actually, I could see Canelo Alvarez ending his career on Terrence Crawford. So that's what I think. That to me that's a big enough fight, a big enough of event, big enough of a payday, as far as like accomplishments are concerned, for Canelo to go out on that note. So I'm thinking 2, 3 at max. You guys are saying, what, 2 or 3 more years, 2 or 3 more fights? A couple of you guys, Isaac, 2 or 3 more years. Jimmy says we appreciate your consistency. Thank you, man. It's good to be consistent, man. I had a lot of years here on YouTube where I used to get a lot of anxiety before I come on these lives. But as you get older, you mature, you learn how to deal with things, you learn how to deal with your nerves, you learn how to deal with just a lot of things. So I'm glad to be here. Be consistent, challenging myself every day, giving you guys the best content I can. MEG says getting a DAZN fighter to fight on Amazon and PBC platform is weird. But when money talks, promoters, networks work together at the dollars make sense. Canelo Alvarez brings a lot of money to the table. This fight is a big fight, not just for the West Coast fans, the Mexicans on the West Coast, but the Mexicans in Mexico. So we'll see, man. I think it's gonna be one of Canelo's most successful events. I'm talking about at the gate, on pay-per-view, ticket sales, all that stuff. It will move the needle. It might, honestly, in America at least, this might be the biggest fight in America this year. Biggest event. As far as significance, because really it's just Canelo making a defense of the undisputed titles. But as far as the actual magnitude of the fight, the hype that it's going to get, especially from the West Coast, I think it has a chance to be the biggest fight, the biggest event in the USA this year. BT, don't you think Virgil Ortiz smokes Madrimov? He's gonna beat him. He's gonna beat him soundly, quickly. He's gonna beat the brakes off Madrimov. Virgil Ortiz is too good for Madrimov. Madrimov is very good, but Madrimov needs you to sit there and he needs to be able to plant his feet. Like, look at Kurbanov. Kurbanov sat there and just took an ass beating. Virgil Ortiz is gonna be pushing Madrimov back. And one thing about most Uzbek fighters that I'm starting to really see fight by fight with Ergashev and Komatov and Melikuziev and all these guys, they can't fight going backwards at all. I mean, when I say at all, I mean at all. They have no back foot boxing ability. They got to be coming forward. As Hyro, you've pointed out many times in our phone calls, they like to throw a lot of looping punches, not so much straight punches. And I just think Virgil Ortiz, and I'm going to highlight it, I'm going to keep mentioning it every time I talk about Virgil. Virgil Ortiz has one of the best power jabs in the business, and it doesn't get enough credit. Shout out to my man, the great Jimmy in Phoenix, Arizona. I will be in Phoenix, Arizona at the end of the month. I can't wait to finally meet some of my Arizona viewers and just, talk and experience what fights in Arizona are like, because I hear great things about Arizona as far as it being a fight town, and I've got good friendships with people in boxing from Arizona. So, yeah, man. Looking forward to it. Isaac says, I would have taken Bud more seriously if he went for Johnny Beck. Nah, that was never going to happen. he's gonna get more money for fighting Eubank. Eubank is a name. There's British television money involved. He wouldn't get none of that with Johnny Beck. But I hear you. I'm with you. I would love to have seen Bud fight a guy like Johnny Beck, but I mean, boxing is a business, guy. So the business and the sport have to line up a lot of times for these big fights to happen. And when it comes to a fight for Bud and Johnny Beck, only Bud and Johnny Beck lines up as a sport, not as a business. You know what I'm saying? So the Rodriguez Boxing Club is the best boxing gym in Phoenix. Okay, shout out to Rodriguez Boxing Gym, and shout out to all the gyms in the world that are keeping the doors open and offering kids a place to train and giving people a safe haven to healthily express and get out their anger and their anxieties and their frustrations. Because I'm gonna tell you guys, boxing gyms save a lot of people. Boxing, like, it's cliche to say, but boxing saved my life. Like, I remember being a 18, 19-year-old directionless kid, and then shout out to the fine folks at Canino's Boxing Gym. I walked into Canino's Boxing Gym. I started training, and my life changed ever since that day in 2015. So shout out to all the boxing gyms in the world. MEZBX says, I think Brian Mendoza would beat Israel Madrimov. I think Brian Mendoza could beat Israel Madrimov too. He hits a lot. But yeah, does any? By the way, just to check the temperature, what do you are any of you guys actually gonna pick Jaime Munguia to beat Canelo? That's what I want to know. Where's the Munguia army? Where are the people that are backing Jaime Munguia? Isaac says Canelo versus Munguia shits on Bud versus Eubank. And you know what's crazy, Isaac? Normally I wouldn't agree with you, but shit, it's actually a better fight. I think it's a much better fight than Canelo or than Bud versus Eubank. And I love Terrence Crawford. Like, Terrence Crawford is one of my favorite fighters in history, but I can't be biased. Like, Canelo versus Munguia is actually a fight between two guys in their weight class. You know, it's a more exciting fight. Yeah, Jimmy. It's a great way to reset your mind and just become a whole new person. Every day you go to the boxing gym. Even now, like, when I do go to the gym and train, like I train like twice this week. I'll go back to the gym on Monday and just train to stay in shape. Like, every time I go to the gym, I feel like different person, better BT, better True School every time. So we get stronger, we get better, we get fitter. Shout out to the biggest. Listen, y'all better show respect and appreciation and adoration for my man Pete in the comments. He said Canelo. Pete is like the biggest Canelo fan that I know. I haven't met one Canelo fan bigger than Pete. Because Pete rides with Canelo no matter what. Through all the bullshit, Pete rides with Canelo. He goes to all of his fights, all of them. The cherry picks, the big fights, the undisputed fights. I mean, all of them. He was down here in Miami for Avni Yildirim. He went to Plant. I think he went to Angulo back in the day. He's been to all these fights. So that's a real Canelo fan. Y'all ain't messing with my boy Pete. Pete is the #1 pound for pound Canelo fan on planet Earth. They're not messing with Pete. MEZ says Jaime Munguia gets stopped in the 8th or 9th round by Canelo. I could see that. I could even see it being earlier. It all depends on, I think, how Munguia opens up. If Munguia opens up earlier, I think Canelo could get him out of there earlier. But I could also see Canelo getting old and Munguia overwhelming him with volume. I mean, it's gonna be a good fight. Hyro says I'm picking Jaime Munguia. I've waited for Munguia to get his shot on 2018 on HBO. Hyro, you just became a Munguia fan. You just became a Munguia fan like two months ago. Or like 4 or 5 months ago when you started talking all this nonsense about, Jaime Munguia, he's in his real weight class and this, that, and the third. You know? You just became a Munguia fan. You're not a real Munguia fan. Chris Myatt says, man, I missed the gym. I missed 2 Golden Gloves back-to-back. Hope your promotional dreams come true, man. You'd be a good asset to have for a young, up-and-coming fighter. Yeah, man, I appreciate that. And yeah, as many of you guys know, I do have ambitions of being a boxing manager and you know, not to get too deep into it, but I kind of already am being an asset to a couple fighters locally. So, you know, I'm using my connections that I built up in the boxing world the last 9 years, and I have You know, I have a lot of connections. I mean, I know people from every corner of this earth, from England to Japan to New York to here in South Florida to Texas to Vegas. I mean, I not to toot my own horn, but my connection, my list of connections is pretty high. So I've been helping some of the young fighters here in South Florida as much as I can, and yeah, some big things are happening, and that's all I'll say. That's all I'll say. I won't talk too much more than that. And then when the time comes to show you guys better than I can tell you, I'll show and I'll tell. MEG says Munguia's defense isn't good enough. Yeah, it's really leaky. He needs to tighten it up, you know. And Hyro says Munguia has a better resume at 160 than Andre. Yeah, but he never won a world title, so who cares? He never had the minerals, as the Brits would say. He never had the minerals to go ahead and fight Andre. He didn't believe in himself. You know? I saw someone earlier, I can't remember the comment, but I saw a comment earlier. Somebody asked me about what did I think about Andre Ward's comments about Canelo. And I forgot who it was that asked me that thing about Andre Ward. But Andre Ward, it wasn't wrong with what he said about Canelo. Canelo has handpicked a lot of guys, but he can't really talk because Ward handpicked a lot of guys, and Ward ducked Better Be Evan Bivol. He retired and avoided the whole country of Russia. He avoided the whole country of Russia, and then he had the audacity once he retired to do commentary work and do a whole one-on-one special exclusive interview with Bivol. I mean, come on, man. So, as much as I agree with Ward, and as much as I do think he's telling the truth, remember, when you point your finger, remember that there's three fingers pointing back at you. So, yeah, man. Andre Ward, he didn't want no smoke with Better Be Ever Bivol. Bivol, I was there when he fought. When I went to Kovalev versus Ward too, and Bivol was a prospect. Bivol fought Cedric Agnew on the undercard. So I remember they could have fought within a couple fights. If Ward would have stayed around about a year longer, you know, they would have fought. He talks about how he was forced to fight Kovalev. Yeah, he wasn't forced to do anything. But this is what let me give you guys the real what happened with Ward and HBO. So Andre Ward was signed to Rock Nation. HBO wanted to turn a profit over on Andre Ward because at that time HBO was already losing money from, you know, Andrade and whatnot and other fighters. So they didn't want to repeat that, and they figured, you know what, Ward is an Olympic gold medalist. There's a big fight that they can make with Sergey Kovalev, who at that time had a big name in the division. So there were no big names at 68 because Ward had beaten most of the big names. The only two guys he didn't fight at 68 were Lucien Boutte, who he did avoid, as crazy as it sounds. He did avoid Lucien Boutte because he said before the Super 6 that the winner should fight Lucien Boutte. He won the Super 6 and never fought Lucien Boutte. So him, and then I guess if you wanted to really nitpick Ward, Robert Stieglitz, but like nobody wanted to see those fights, right? So I'm not going to hold them to it at that. So the only fight that people would have been, you know, eager to see Ward in, apart from Golovkin, who there's all this kind of history about Ward and Golovkin. Like Ward likes to nitpick and cherry pick one quote from Golovkin. And I'm not no Golovkin fanboy, but I remember whenever Ward would call out Golovkin, because I was making videos back then, he only ever called out Golovkin when Golovkin had fights signed. So when Ward would have a fight sign coming up and Golovkin would have a fight sign coming up, that's when he would call out Golovkin. It was never when he was free and Golovkin was free. So, you know, I saw through the fake call-outs and him attaching his name to Golovkin because he wasn't a big name at the time. He had to attach his name to a guy that was big, so it was smart marketing on his part. But I'll say this. The Kovalev fight was a fight people wanted to see. HBO didn't force him to do anything. Andre Ward is a grown man. This is boxing. This isn't the NBA where there's schedules and unions, okay? He could have did whatever he wanted to do. He could have did anything he wanted to do. He could have fought somebody else, but then he wouldn't have made any money. So it came down to a fight. It came to a point where Ward had to, you know, did he want to be in big money fights? You know, did he really want legacy? So I give him his credit because he eventually fought Kovalev. I have my opinions about how the both fights played out, but, you know, at least he fought him. So, but he likes to have this revisionist history now and say that I was forced. Yeah, like, because God forbid you fight one of the best fighters around your way. God forbid we actually ask these fighters to be great, you know. I mean, he signed to James Prince. That tell you something, yeah. As you say. Shout out to everybody here. Munguia should have fought Andrade years ago. I agree. And Blacklight wants to know, why did Andrade never fight a world champion? A number of reasons. Number one, first and foremost, Andrade is one of the worst businessmen in the history of boxing. He's ridiculous. He doesn't know anything when it comes to making decisions that are smart for his career from a legacy standpoint. He was able to get money, but he wasn't able to, like, you know, make those fights happen that would have got him legacy. So he put himself behind the eight ball business-wise. That's a whole live in itself. I've talked about him a number of times. And then he's very good. Like, he at 154 and 160, he's a very good fighter who's hard to beat. And unless you're, like, you know, a contender, if you're one of the top guys, like a champion, the financial incentive wasn't the best to fight him. So it's a combination of things. But Andrade, still a good fighter. You know, his career could have been better than it played out, but it is what it is. GGG versus Ward would have been the battle of Jordan Brand fighters. It would have been big. It would have been big. But I really don't think that. You guys got to also remember another thing, and I'm gonna tell you all the truth. Andre Ward has one of the most intelligent publicists in boxing, which is a lady by the name of Julie Gold Striker, or something like that. This Jewish girl that's the PR person for a lot of fighters. So I wouldn't even have put it past her to, like, tell Andre, hey, call out Golovkin. It'll get you more, you know, views and make you more notable. And guess what? Here we are years later. Andre Ward ain't fought in a while. We're still talking about Andre Ward and Golovkin fighting each other and how that never happened. So make of that what you will. But we're gonna go for like 3 more minutes, guys, and then I'm gonna end it at the 45-minute marks. So go ahead and get your questions in. Super chat. Julie is the PR for Terrence Crawford. Yeah, Terrence Crawford and Andre Ward and Shakur Stevenson. So, yeah. Isaac says, True School, it was fun watching the MMA fans disappear yesterday. So many of them weren't giving AJ a chance. I'll tell you guys this. I wasn't even worried. I knew AJ was going to demolish Francis. Because AJ, unlike Fury, AJ's actually a professional and watches his weight and trains hard. Look at this dog, guys. Look, what do you guys think about this dog? It's a cute dog, isn't it? Shout out to Junior. Junior the dog. I think boxing is about to become great again as PBC slowly keeps mishandling money, I'd assume. Boxing's already great. It all depends on what you're focusing on. Like, for every bullshit fight there's like 2 or 3 good fights. They're just not the big fights. But like Komatov vs. Ford was a great fight. Pro Box TV is putting on great cards every Wednesday. Great competitive cards every Wednesday. So there's always great things happening in boxing. You just got to go ahead and look for it. You just got to go ahead and you got to choose to be a positive person. The problem with a lot of boxing fans is that a lot of boxing fans are miserable. And you got to, you know, and I get it. I've been the miserable boxing fan before in my life. But you got to almost program yourself to not be the miserable boxing fan. So Pro Box is doing a great job. You know, there's still great championship fights happening. Are you going to watch Daniel Lusanov? That's not Daniel Lusanov. That's another Lusanov. But when is that fight? Is that today? Because if it's today, I ain't watching that. I'm going to the Panthers game. I'm about to go watch hockey. About to go enjoy my night. To be honest, boxing is picking up this year. Usyk and Fury and Beterbiev versus Bivol same year. That's crazy. Those are good. Those are good fights. Those are very good fights, especially that Beterbiev Bivol. Usyk and Fury is whatever, but Beterbiev and Bivol is the fight. That's the most significant fight that can be made in 2024. Because of how bad Fury performed against Ngannou, and then how easy AJ made it look, it makes Fury look like a complete chump. And then I thought Usyk got hit with a legal shot against Dubois. So really, I just want them to speed it up so the division can move forward. You know, hopefully it's a great fight. It'll be the first undisputed champion since Lennox Lewis. But they need to hurry and speed it up so my boy Philip Hrgovic can get his shot. It's March 15th on a Friday. Okay. Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm just worried about today. I can't worry about March 15th. March 15th. I might watch it. Depends. It depends. I don't know. I'm just worried about getting through the rest of this week. I still got things I got to do today and tomorrow, so we'll see if I watch Callum Walsh versus loosen off. But shout out to Callum Walsh. Tom Loffa's doing a good job building him up. Joshua would beat Hrgovic at what? At boxing? Absolutely not. He's definitely not beating Hrgovic. But I'm glad you feel that way, and I'm glad Hurricane Hank, when he's normally in here, he normally feels that way. I'm glad so many boxing fans are back on the age rate train. Because when Hrgovic stomps him the hell out and sends him into permanent retirement, I don't want to hear it from nobody. I don't want to hear nobody tell me, oh, I always believe in Hrgovic and this, that. Nah, stay over there on that side. We don't want to hear you get on the Hrgovic bandwagon. Stay over the hell over there. Because I told you guys for years who Hrgovic was, and you didn't want to listen. So when AJ finally finds his balls and fights him and gets beat up, can't wait. I'll tell you guys this, though, on the Hrgovic front. I'm not sure what day yet, but sometime this week, I'm supposed to go see Hrgovic because he's down here in Miami. We've been communicating it through Instagram. So we locked down a place to meet up at, but now we got to lock down a time. So I'm just waiting for his response on some things. But, yeah, hopefully this week I have a Hrgovic interview for you guys, and we can hear from Hrgovic himself on what could be next, because these guys don't want to fight him. And I'm not telling you guys this because I'm a fan of his or anything like that. I'm telling you guys off of things I know from actually legitimately knowing people in the boxing world. Like, these guys don't want to fight Hrgovic. Please believe when I tell you guys that. Boxing Learner says, I never left AJ. He's a consummate pro with more experience now. No, for sure. He's definitely a consummate pro. But a lot of people did leave AJ. And a lot of people are on the AJ train now, and they got on the AJ versus they got on the AJ train when Hrgovic had a down performance against Zhang. So all I'm saying is when Hrgovic beats the freaking brakes off AJ, I don't want to hear from nobody. I don't want to hear that you always believed, because I know. Why can't you go live with Hrgovic? I could go live with Hrgovic, but it's just better if I see him. I want to go see him in person. He's here in Miami. Why would I go live with Hrgovic when he's here in Miami? I don't want to go live with Hrgovic. I want to go see him in person. But guys, look, I'm going to get up on out of here because I have to take a shower and get ready for this Panthers game. You guys take care. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Enjoy your Saturday night. Be safe. There'll be a live tomorrow. We'll see what it's about. But check out all the content on the channel. Like, there's a lot of videos coming out. And I appreciate all the support. We're going to hit 73,000 subscribers in the next, 2 or 3 days. So I'm just really appreciative of all the support I do get. Because I do think, I have the best subscribers in boxing. And I feel like this is the home of boxing on YouTube. And I don't take nothing for granted. So you guys take care. May 4th, Canelo Munguia. I will be out there for Boxing Fan Expo weekend. So if you're going to be out there, make your plans. Love to meet some of you guys. But yeah, like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me. But I'm just a kid from Ding. So until next time, take care, guys.